Well, hi everyone. Welcome back to Foreign Currencies with Scott. So today is Wednesday, February 18th, and we're going to review the first three trading days of this week. What you're looking at is a chart of the live GBP USD pair. You can see we've already put in our vertical line there on the left-hand side for the close of New York this evening. And that middle horizontal line is 134 and 94.7 pips. That's where the pair closed when the New York market closed. And we have our 30 pips above that mark and 30 pips below that mark that we'll be looking for to see where we're at when London opens in a few hours. Now we're going to take a look at our running sheet since this challenge was started on July 1st. We go down to the bottom here, we'll see that we have on the left-hand side there our month's record, our overall record. And you can see that as we go through each month, that first one there is July, we were 3 and 3. Then August, September, October, November, December, January, and February, where we are now. You can see that we are 3 and 1 for the month of February. That means 3 winning trades and 1 losing trade. And since we started on July 1st of last year, we are 22 and 20. So 22 winning trades and 20 losing trades. And if you recall further, we said that we needed to get half right and half wrong to make money. And here we are just doing slightly better than that. Now I'm going to scroll up here and you will see in our February, you can see that at the end of January, that 6.9 number that you see there, that's how well we did in January. We closed January up 21.3% since July 1, and our balance was $2,426 after starting on July 1 at $2,000. Next above that, you'll see a red value, so we lost a trade this month, and then we won 3 straight trades. So that's how we got to be 3 and 1. If you look to the right there, you will see that those two numbers represent how we're doing for the month and how we're doing since July 1. So we're up currently 8.7% just for the month of February alone. And that's from the bottom number to the top number. That's from 24.26 to 26.36. And the 31% represents getting to 2636 all the way from $2,000. So the fund is really doing well, especially since December 1, when we started our new creed of we will be motivated by neither greed nor fear. We will simply use discipline and follow our method. We have really been doing really well since then. Okay, so the last thing to look at today is one of the trades in the first 3 trading days of the week. So the 3 days, Monday and Wednesday, we had no trade possibilities, but Tuesday we did have a trade possibility, and that's what we're going to take a look at now. All right, we're going to look at Tuesday, February 17th. So there was no trade on Monday, February 16th, but at the end of the day on Monday, the New York close there is represented by the vertical bar at the left-hand side of your screen. And then we have the horizontal bar of the New York close price, which is 136 and 29.1 pips. And you can see the 2 lines on either side of that representing the 30 pips above and 30 pips below indicators. So you can see that as the evening went on in the other markets, the pair did trend lower, heading towards that 30 pips below. And as we get to midnight there and the start of February 17th on the far right hand side of the screen, you can see we're still not quite down to 30 pips away. But then at 2 a.m., you can see that we start making a major move downwards. And so let's just focus on this for a bit. Now, considering what the pair was doing the rest of the day since the New York close, just kind of hovering around but heading towards 30 pips below, this sudden movement lower is a bit scary, and I'm intentionally cutting it off there. So we can see that at 3 a.m., it had just started to come back. Now I'm going to put it in the middle of the screen so you can see it better, but if you ignore the right-hand side of the screen and just look at 3 a.m., you can see that it sort of established a low here at 2:35 before London opened and then skirted around. Now, what we had to do in using discipline here is we had to stay away from fear. Remember, we're not going to be motivated or moved to action by greed or fear. So you can see the three horizontal lines on the screen, and you can see that we not only went 30 pips below, we went probably more than 60 pips below. So we made a pretty good move in a pretty short period. So it takes some ignoring of fear to say, okay, I'm going to put in a trade now for that to go back up. You may have heard the old expression, don't go against the trend. And this is exactly what we would be doing here if we said we want to buy to go back up towards the New York close. But again, in using this method and just the discipline, the idea is that it does head back towards the New York close after the London open. So we can see that between 2:30 and 3, we've set in kind of a bottom there, couldn't really get beyond that one point. 2:55 was a good move up. There's no question as to whether or not we're still below the 30 pips below because we are well below it. But then that meant we were able to enter at right at 3 o'clock. So we entered at 3 o'clock and turned out the lights, went back to sleep, and then woke up a couple hours later. And as you can see here, the pair went back up, never even got close to challenging our entry price again, much less getting stopped out. It went back to 30 pips away, but never went more than that. So it did not actually get back to the New York close, but it did get more than 30 pips higher than it was, which is what we were looking for. So let's just highlight this again and see right at the 3 o'clock hour with the London Open that I keep missing. There we are. So it opened at 135.63.2. So we would have been looking at 93 or thereabouts. And as you can see, that lower line there, the 30 pips below line, is at 136.000 effectively. So that was well above it, and we got out with a win. Now, what has it done since then? It's turned around and gone right back down. In fact, even lower, perhaps another 30 pips lower for now, what is looking like 90 pips below the New York close. So, in this model, not many people would be able to look at a trading day and say, yes, I made money on a trade of the pair going up. But that is what we did. We made it right between 3 a.m. and 4:30 a.m., right in this central part here where it was going back up. So the method is working well. We're taking good advantage of it. We simply saw the indicators and everything met the criteria. We put in our trade. We went away. We came back several hours later to find out that it was a win. So all good for Tuesday, February 17th.